So welcome to the new session of Remade Pro, and today we're going to start the next chapter, the chapter number 2 of class 11. It is the biological classification. So it's a series of one day, one chapter, and so today we will start with the biological classification, and it will end up this chapter 2. So just write the topic biological classification. See, I am just going with the important topics, important notes of every chapter that is very much essential for your examination. When I was a candidate, I too made the focus on these parts, and that made a huge success. So, biological classification. See, in this era, basically every coaching institutes and every coach teachers basically focuses on the pro or paid batches, paid subscriptions. I do not focus on that. I genuinely try to my younger medicos to get up into this to achieve their dreams. So I have just started this channel to lead this into a success. So please rely on these topics as you will get the questions from here. Okay. So the early approaches. So what was the early approaches? The early approaches. Okay. So on the early approaches, first comes to the Aristotle. Aristotle classified animals in groups like Inaima, having red blood, and Anima, the one not having red blood, the one not having red blood. Okay. So Inaima and Anima. Now Linnaeus gave two kingdom classification. That is blue-green algae, fungi, mosses, bacteria, ferns, gymnosperms, angiosperms, and animals on basis of presence or absence of cell wall. Okay. So next, Aristotle was first to give scientific classification by classifying plants into tree, herbs, and shrubs. Into trees, herbs, and shrubs. And the last, the five kingdom classification was given by R.H. Whitaker. Okay, in which year it may come in the exam, because nobody focuses on the year. But if you know the year, 4 marks will be awarded if the question comes. Okay, so do not leave anything. See, this is not an exam to give you admission. This is an exam to eliminate you from the competition. Okay, so R.H. Whitaker gave five kingdom classification. Five kingdom classification, that is: 1. Monera, 2. Protista, 3. The fungi, 4. The plantae, and 3. The animalia. Okay. So now, issues in the early approaches. Issues in the early approaches. So, what were the issues in the early approaches? It brought together prokaryotic bacteria and higher plants. Next, the unicellular and multicellular were placed together. Third, the organisms with different cell wall were placed together like fungi, having chitinous wall, which was placed with plants having cellulosic cell wall. No heterotopic no differentiation between mode of nutrition, that is heterotrophic fungi were placed with autotrophic plants. Now, see, these are the approaches in these three, in respect to in these three system. And for the five kingdom system, on the basis of the five kingdom system, the main salient features were the cell structure was given the importance, cell structure, thallus organization, mode of nutrition, reproduction, phylogenetic relationship, so now the next one is the kingdom Monera. So in the introduction, it is spherical, is coccus. So kingdom Monera basically has bacteria. Bacteria. Now, rod shaped bacillus, comma shaped, it's vibrio, and spiral, it is spirulum. Okay. Now, in case of the archibacteria, so in case of archibacteria, it live in the most harsh habitat. For example, halophiles, it resides on the salty areas. Thermoacidophiles, hot springs, have well-defined cell wall. Have well-defined cell wall. Now this is eubacteria. It is characterized by presence of rigid cell wall and presence of flagella if they are motile. So, in case of the reproduction of the bacteria, it's mainly by fission. In unfavorable condition, mainly by fission, and in unfavorable condition, they make spores. And also reproduce sexually by transfer of DNA from one cell to another. That is called a conjugation. Now, in case of the eubacteria, it has to be divided into some features. See, in case of the eubacteria, It can be of chemosynthetic autotroph, chemosynthetic autotroph. It can oxidize inorganic substance like nitrates, nitrites, ammonia, and use released energy for ATP production. Okay. The next one is the heterotrophs. Mostly decomposers. Help in making curd. It can some of them helps in end to fixation. They can make you sick, that is can cholera, make you fall ill, typhoid, tetanus, citrus canker, etc. Okay, the next we can say cyanobacteria. Cyanobacteria. It is also called as blue-green algae. Also called BGA. It have chlorophyll A and are photosynthetic. Autotrophs. Unicellular, colonial. Volvox is colonial form. Unicellular, colonial, filamentous. Spirogyra is filamentous. Filamentous, marine and terrestrial. Marine or terrestrial habit. Terrestrial habitat. Okay, so for example, we can give nostoc, anabina, heterocyst, nostoc, anabina, where heterocyst provides anaerobic respiration required for N2 fixation, because leg hemoglobin is very much sensitive to oxygen. And the last one is the mycoplasma. So it is lack of cell wall and as the smallest living cell can live without oxygen. Okay, can live without oxygen. Okay, now in the next topic we come to kingdom Protista. Okay, so write the heading kingdom Protista. kingdom Protista. So in the kingdom Protista, we have chrysophytes. We have chrysophytes. It includes diatoms and desmids. It includes diatoms and desmids. Fresh water as well as marine water float passively in water. Float passively in water. It's photosynthetic. It is photosynthetic. In diatoms, a cell wall form two thin overlapping shells which fit together in a soap box. Walls are embedded with silica and are indestructible. Thus they left behind large amount of cell deposits in their habitat over billion of years, which are called as diatomaceous earth, used in polishing, filtration, and being gritty in nature. Diatoms are the chief producers of ocean. Okay. The next we come to as dinoflagellates. Dinoflagellates. So in case of the dinoflagellates, it's mostly marine. It is mostly marine. So as it mostly marine and are photosynthetic. It is mostly marine and as well as photosynthetic. Okay, so they appear yellow, blue, yellow, brown, blue, red, depending on pigments they carry. Cell wall have stiff cellulosic plates on outer surface. Most have two flagella. One is longitudinal. This is important. Question comes from here. Longitudinal. And another is transverse. Another is transverse. What is transverse? It's a furrow between plates. Okay. Now come to the next, red dinoflagellates. It's goniolax. Multiplies rapidly and cause red tide. Toxin released by them may kill marine animals. Next we come to euglenoids. These are mostly freshwater. Mostly freshwater. In stagnant water. Stagnant water dweller. Instead of cell wall, they have a protein rich layer called pellicle. So instead of the cell wall, they have a protein rich layer called pellicle. Okay. Now they have a short and long flagella. They are photosynthetic in presence of light. Their pigments are identical of higher plants. Pigments identical of higher plants. Okay. Next we come to the slime modes. It is saprophytic. Moves along decaying twigs and leaves, engulfing organic material under suitable condition. They form aggregation called plasmodium, and in unfavorable condition Plasmodium differentiates and form protein bodies. Bearing spores. At their tips. Now come to protozoas. All are heterotrophs. And live as predators or parasites. 4 main groups. One is amoeboid, move and capture prey by pseudopodia. Marine forms have silica shells on surface. Example, entamoeba. Flagellated, either free living or parasites, have flagella. And ciliated, it is aquatic, actively moving, have thousands of cilia, have cavity that opens outside the cell surface. And D is sporozoans. Have an infectious spore like stage in the life cycle. It is example Plasmodium. Malarial parasite. The next topic will come is fungi, the kingdom fungi. So before starting the kingdom fungi, I think you all have got this short and very important topics up to here, and all the things I have given in these videos are clear, crystal clear to you guys, because I have not used any things outside the NCERT, and I have used my knowledge here, that from where the questions may come and where by how the question setters may make you trouble in the examination hall. So before starting the kingdom fungi, I think all of you are clear up to this. Okay, so let's start with the topic, the kingdom fungi. So it is kingdom fungi. So I have to give the introduction of the kingdom fungi. Nutrition, reproduction. We will focus on this part: nutrition, reproduction, and structure. Okay, the question comes from these three parts only. So in the case of the nutrition, it's mostly heterotrophic, heterotrophs, and absorb soluble organic matter from dead substrate, from dead substance. Okay, they can also live as symbionts and symbionts in association with algae as lichens and with roots of higher plants like pinus as mycorrhiza. Okay. Now, in the case of the reproduction, it can reproduce by vegetative mode, that is fragmentation, fission, and budding. Asexual mode, spores, it is conidia, sporangiospore, zoospores, aplanospores, sexual is oospores, ascospore, basidiospore. Okay. Now, spores are produced in fruiting bodies. The sexual cycle involves 1. Plasmogamy, karyogamy, meiosis, fusion of protoplasm, between two motile or non-motile gametes, motile and non-motile, motile gametes, fusion of two nuclei, zygote results in making haploid spores, meiosis. Now haploid spores, this fusion begin dikaryophase, nuclei fuse, diploid body, it forms meiosis again, it forms haploid spores. Okay. Now the structure. Now the structure. They are filamentous except the structure. They are filamentous except yeast, which is unicellular. Body consists of long slender like thread like hyphae, and it is called, and its network called mycelium. The continuous hyphae with multinuclear situation are called sinusotic, and others have septae or cross walls. The cell wall contains chitin and polysaccharide. Okay, so it is completed, and now comes to the 4 groups of fungi. Here are the 4 groups of fungi. One is Phycomycetes, another is Ascomycetes, it is called sac fungi, another is Basidiomycetes, that is mushroom, bracket fungi, and puffballs, and there is Deuteromycetes. It is called imperfect fungi. Now, in case of Phycomycetes, it is found in aquatic habitat and on and decaying wood. It is asexually reproduced. Asexual reproduction by zoospores. It is mobile, that is motile, or aplanospore, it is non-motile. Aplanospores, it is non-motile. They are produced endogenously in sporangium. In sporangium. Zygospores are formed by fusion of two gametes. If similar gametes are fused, similar gametes or similar gametes, it is called isogamous. Dissimilar, it's anisogamous, or oogamous. Okay. Now, ascomycetes. Come to the ascomycetes. Come to ascomycetes. It is called sac fungi. In case of ascomycetes, it is multicellular except yeast. Except the yeast. It is multicellular except the yeast. Mycelium is branched. And septate. It is branched and septate. Asexual spores are conidia. Sexual spores are ascospores, which are produced endogenously. In sac, like asci. Okay. Example: yeast, aspergillus, penicillium, claviceps, and neurospora. Now comes to the basidiomycetes. Basidiomycetes. Okay, so basidiomycetes are called the bracket fungi. or the puff balls. Okay, it is called the bracket fungi or the puff balls. Okay, now it grows in soil, logs, stumps, living on plants. Grows in soil, logs. Okay, its sex organs are absent. But plasmogamy takes place. Dikaryotic stage is found. Karyogamy and meiosis takes place. In basidium, producing 4 basidiospore. It is exogenously. Fruiting body is called basidiocarp. Example: agaricus, ustilago, puccinia. Now come to deuteromycetes. It is called imperfect fungi. Its example are generally asked: Coleotrichum, Trichoderma, and Alternaria. In the case of the virus, viroids and the lichens, I am giving you some important tips regarding it, because most questions comes between these lines. Okay, so in the case of viroids, in 1971, Theo Dinier discovered it is smaller than virus. Okay, free RNA found. Lack of protein coat. RNA of low molecular weight. Okay. Come to the prions. In modern medicine, certain infectious neurological disease were found to be transmitted by an agent consisting of abnormally folded protein. Consisting of abnormally folded protein. Agent similar to the size of virus. It is called prions. In cattle, we found bovine spongiform encephalopathy, and in human it is Seard-Jacob disease. Now the last topic is the lichens. It's a symbiotic association between algae and fungi. Algal component is phycobiont, and fungal component is mycobiont. Algae prepare food for fungi. Algae prepare food for fungi, and fungi provide shelter and absorb mineral nutrients. Algae prepare lichen is a very good indicator for pollution. They do not grow in polluted areas. Okay, so for today I have completed this second chapter, the biological classification. On the next video I will start with the plant kingdom. So please subscribe, share and like this channel and spread it with your friends who are going to give the NEET examination. Till then, a very good night. Bye bye.